Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so for me, 36, married with 3 beautiful little boys, 5, 3, and 1.
Wow.
All boys.
Oh.
Please pray for me. But man, we love it. It's super fun. In this season of life, I'm the broadcast campus pastor at Christ Fellowship Church in Miami. And alongside that, I have no other time.
Okay.
So no, I put all my energy and effort into doing ministry. I guess you could also say that I'm a teaching pastor for our young adult ministry across the church.
Nice, brother.
So that's kind of a little bit about who I am today.
Nice. Before I get into it in the 6 pillars, right? Because I want to hit the 6 pillars.
Yeah.
I admire how the confidence, brother, that you bring every time you go up in stage.
Sure.
For a person who was as young as you, because right now you're 36, but you've been a pastor for a while now.
Yep.
So let me ask you something. What got you to have that confidence to be able to step up in stage and speak to, men and older people who are listening to you?
Yeah.
And with the authority that you bring to the table, brother.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That's good. I think the first thing that I would have to say would be God's gifting. And like a gift is just that. It's a gift. Like you can't be prideful in your gift. It was given to you. You didn't earn it. And so at one level, I've always had the gift of gab. I remember in school, if it was a book report or an oral book report, I always prayed that I'd get an oral book report because I was just comfortable. I was comfortable being able to speak in front of people. Still have nerves and things like that, but compared to my friends and even to this day, I noticed that I'm more naturally comfortable in front of people talking. But I think that you hit on something key is I'm not just talking to peers. I'm talking to people who are a lot older than I am, younger than I am, people who have frankly accomplished probably a lot more than I have, or perhaps are better at other things than I am. And I guess for that, I would have to say there's a sense of knowing my calling, knowing the responsibility that I have in that calling to be a pastor, to speak on behalf of God, which I say in quotes because I'm flawed and I can make mistakes, but he's not and his word is not. And so I do the best that I can to make sure that what I'm communicating, I can root back directly to the word of God. And if I can do that, then I can speak with all the boldness in the world because I'm not speaking my opinions, I'm speaking his truth.
My brother. That's right, brother. I like that. That's good. Okay, good, man. That's the authority that you bring. His authority, not yours.
Yeah, amen.
And all you are doing is just being a good messenger.
Sure.
And that's amazing, brother. Thank you so much, and I appreciate that. So Tucker, let's go back. Let's go with the first pillar, right? Because the first pillar is faith. Yeah. And that's where you're rooted at.
Sure.
That's your. So I always ask this because I know, we should all have that humbleness and all that, but I want you to rate yourself from a scale from 1 to 10. 1, you're not living a Christ-like life, you're separated from the Lord. 10, you're 100% locked in with Christ, and you know you are certain and you love where you are in your walk with the Lord, 100%, and you can't really think of anything else that you can do at level 10. So where would somebody like you place yourself?
Based on your definition, I would give myself a 10.
Nice.
Now, that is not to say that I don't make mistakes. That's not to say that I don't have other things that will try to distract me and things like that. I'll give you a simple example, real life example. The other day, for whatever reason, I decided I was going to go onto Realtor.com and look at how much a home would cost me to purchase. Right now I live in a parsonage. If you're not a Christian, that means a home owned by the church that they rent out to their pastors. Okay. And so I looked at could I afford a home? The answer was a resounding no. It was a shocking no. To be able to house a family with 3 boys and all that. In Miami, especially with a desire to have space that they can run around and stuff like that. And so all my journey, I've had to kind of face this question of, am I going to live someone else's values, or am I going to live my values, which hopefully my wife and I have done a good job at rooting the values of our family into the scriptures in the way of Jesus and his calling on our life. And so in order to say yes to one thing, I've got to say no to other things, right? If I'm going to say yes to God's calling on my life to be a pastor, my wife and I last year made the decision that we wanted to make a change and start homeschooling our kids. And so with that comes an added change to the impact to our family, the realisticness of my wife being able to get a job or different things like that. And so we are consciously choosing to live off of a much lower financial income in order that we might be able to live out the values that we believe God has put in our heart. And so that's not to say that I don't have temptation. That's not to say that I don't desire to be able to afford to purchase a home. That's not to say that I don't make strategic decisions with my finances to try and better my financial situation. But at the end of the day, I guess I would talk about it like this. So you've got your pillars. I've got my core priorities and that. So first is my relationship to God. Second is my relationship to my wife. Third is my kids. Fourth is my ministry. And then fifth, straight up is financial well-being. That's practically how I'm living my life. And so as much as I want a better financial state, I'm not going to sacrifice my ministry. I'm not going to sacrifice my kids. I'm not going to sacrifice my wife or my relationship with the Lord in order to get that. And so, yeah.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, I'm curious. Level 10 is pretty good. Now, what do you do in a daily basis? How do you push yourself? Maybe right now, maybe at this point, you don't have to push yourself anymore because it's in you already. But what are the things that you started out doing in an early, age, enable for you to acquire those habits that are now instilled in you, that are now just driving you to have this really elevated connection with the Lord?
Yeah.
So walk us, because some people want to know, so
Yeah.
what is it that you do?
Yeah.
Right? Like when somebody works out, wait, what do you do? Like, tell me about your routine.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me about your routine.
Okay. So freshman year in high school, I made this decision. I went to a small Christian school, and we did this little overnight retreat. And at the retreat, the speaker was talking about 3 circles. 1, you're not a Christian. 2, you say you're a Christian. 3, that actually means something in your life. That wasn't the words he put on it, but that's my summary of it. And I recognized that I was in circle 2 and I ought to move to circle 3. And I remember walking out that night of that auditorium, scared to death. I'm like, oh my gosh, God's going to take everything away from me. And I'm like, Lord, what have I done? And interestingly, everything that I was afraid he was going to take away over the next couple of years slowly worked its way out of my life. But I actually didn't miss it. I wasn't like, oh no, I want to hang on to this. It was like the Lord changed my heart and my desires. And so at any rate, I walked out of that room and I went, I don't know what this means. I don't know what I should do, but I think good Christians read their Bible on a daily basis. So maybe I should start there. And so the next day I got up and I opened the Bible, and the guy told us to read 1 John. And so he said, read until you get to the end of a thought. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I'm reading. I'm like, is that the end of a thought? Is that the end of a thought? I'm like, I don't even know. But I started reading the Bible every day. And I tried a few different things. I wound up settling into reading a chapter a day. Now, fast forward the clock, it's probably been about 20 years, probably a little over 20 years. I'm a pastor now, so as you can imagine, I've built up my quiet time in my Bible reading, and I still read 1 chapter a day.
Wow.
I've tried other things. I hear about people, they read an Old Testament and New Testament and a Psalm and a Proverb, and I'm like, wow, you are so spiritual. But I've tried, and it becomes laborious, it becomes a task, it becomes, instead of life-giving, it becomes like crushing. And so I have found that reading 1 chapter a day is something that I can do consistently. I always say consistency beats intensity every single time. And so I read a chapter every single day. Over the years, I've added prayer time to that. Over the years, especially more recently, I've realized that people have these ideals. Like people will say, oh, I got to give God my first. And so I'm going to give him, right when I wake up, I'm going to read, I'm going to pray. If you are like me, that's a terrible idea. I will fall asleep if I sit down and close my eyes anytime before 9 a.m. Like, I'm going back to sleep because I'm not a morning person by nature. I want to get up early, and I do get up early, but I have to recognize who God has made me to be and what my strengths and weaknesses are. So these days, my habit looks like waking up, going out for a workout. Either I'll do a HIIT workout in my backyard, or I'll go for a run, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, and then I will spend roughly, there's a little about a block is relative, but I walk this square, and it takes me about 30 minutes, and in that time, I pray, I read the scriptures and I have my quiet time with the Lord because I'm not falling asleep while I'm walking.
Nice. Now, how long does it take, your quiet time with the Lord, the reading? Like, does it take 15, 20, 30 minutes?
30 minutes takes the walk, yeah. Okay. So I guess you could add on to it if I'm going for a run, I'm listening to worship music, so I add that to my quiet time. But my actual thing is 30 minutes. On that walk, I just walk the same loop. I might go forwards or backwards, but I walk the same loop. I know how long it takes me and so it also manages, if I sleep in a little bit or something like that, the flex is my workout. So that's why I'm more spiritually in shape than I am physically in shape. God bless.
Now, all right, I like that. Now, do you do that 7 days a week?
So, for sure, Sunday through Thursday, I do that. Friday is Sabbath in our family. As a pastor, Sunday does not make a good day to rest. It's a very busy work day. Fridays, our rhythm, my wife allows me to sleep in because I'm usually the first one up in our house all week long. She allows me to sleep in, and so I sleep, I wake up, without an alarm clock. I sit, I pull up the window shades in our bedroom, and I read my Bible, and I pray, and just have a very slow, however fast or however slow it takes, and then I, get up and get on with my day and spend it with my kids and my wife. And then Saturdays is kind of a family day, so a lot of the time I'll still try to get up and do that same thing, but there's a little bit of flex in how I operate on Saturdays.
Nice, bro. But you've made it a part of your life for the past 20 years.
Yep.
Wow, bro, that's amazing, because we can see the growth, right? You can physically see it in your life.